In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Centaur is described as a large creature with the upper body of a humanoid and the lower body of a horse, living in small nomadic tribes or by themselves, filled with a sort of wanderlust that made many of them travel and explore the world. They worshipped very few gods, choosing instead to venerate and protect the forests of the world, which endeared them to the elves. This endearment sometimes led to the worship of elven deities like Sylvanus, the god of the wilderness and the hunt, although they did actually have a patron creator deity in Scarret the Forest Walker, a neutral spirit of the forest. The Centaur has an AC of 12 and 45 hit points with a speed of 50 feet. They have a +4 to strength, a +2 to dex, a +2 to con, a -1 in intellect, a +1 in wisdom, and a 0 in charisma. They have a +6 to the athletic skill check, great for grappling, and a +3 in perception and survival. They speak both Elvish and Sylvan, the language of the Fae. They have the charge trait in which if they move 20 feet towards a target and then hit that target with their pike, they deal an extra 3d6 piercing damage. They can make a multi-attack consisting of either 1 pike and 1 hoof attack, or 2 longbow attacks. The pike has a +6 to hit and reach of 10 feet, dealing 1d10 +4 damage, a potential of 5 to 14, or 1d10 and 3d6 +4 damage, a potential of 8 to 32 if combined with the charge. Their hooves have a +6 to hit and deal 2d6 +4 damage, a potential of 6 to 16, and their longbow has a +4 to hit with a range of 150 accurate, 600 inaccurate, dealing 1d8 +2, a potential of 3 to 10. As a DM, I would use several centaurs in an encounter, as one will be quickly overwhelmed by players. I would have at least 1 or 2 centaurs using their longbow attacks to hit melee players twice on a turn, followed by their 50-foot movement to maintain distance from their targets, forcing them to either dash to keep up, or forcing ranged players to target them instead. I would then have the other centaurs in the group target ranged players with their charge and hoof attacks, using 20 feet of movement minimum to proc the charge ability. If at least 2 centaurs are on the ranged players, I would have them swap targets back and forth each round to proc charge as many times as possible, keeping ranged players in melee range at all times. Using this overall strategy forces your melee players to come to the ranged player's rescue, while simultaneously being peppered with arrows from afar, which in turn forces your ranged players to target the archers while being pummeled in close range. In ancient Greek myth, the Centaur is a half-man, half-horse hybrid creature that was believed to be as wild and intelligent as an untamed horse. They were depicted widely in Greek and Roman art, which then survived and proliferated in Middle Age literature and artwork, cementing them as a staple in fantasy and folklore across Europe and North America. They have multiple origin stories depending on the region, but the most widely accepted one is that of Centaurus, the son of Ixion, the king of the Lapiths, and Nephele, a cloud nymph. Centaurus mated with the Magnesian mares and spawned the centaurs. In other regions, he's excluded entirely from the creation story, and the centaurs of Cyprus, Lamos, and other areas were usually attributed to being created by Zeus for many different reasons. The best-known centaur myth of the ancient world is likely that of the Centaurotomy, the fight against the Lapiths. These were an ancient people native to Thessaly who were said to have divine blood, and were also considered the cousins of the centaurs if following the Centaurus origin story. In this story, the centaurs are invited to a wedding of Pirithous, where they were served alcohol for the first time. Becoming drunk let loose their animalistic side, and several attempted to kidnap women in the wedding party, including the bride. This led to an all-out battle in which the drunken centaurs were defeated and banished from ever returning to Thessaly. Other cultures around the world have their own analogs for centaurs, such as the Canaris in Hindu folklore, the Polkan in Russian folklore, and various indigenous tales from across Europe, the Americas, and beyond. When comparing the monster to the myth, we find that they're almost identical. Both are half-human, half-horse hybrid creatures who venerate the forest and nature, and are capable of great speed and feats of strength. Where they seem to differ is in their intellect, as the myths depict them as little more than beasts with some specific exceptions, and D&D treats them as creatures of a lower intelligence score, but with the capacity and stats to be wise protectors of the forests, and allies to the elves and other humanoids of the realm. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month, link in the description below, to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more. For all of my other content, you can find me on Twitch at Moglaroo, YouTube and TikTok at Moglaroo Streams, or my website, mwjgilmore.com.